to Athletics LLC with Lamar, Lucius, Big League Chew, and my man Clyde. You're about to be schooled in all things track and field. This is experience. Yes, sir. We are talking past, present, future. Y'all listen up. Let's go.
Hello, good people. Thank you all for joining us for another fun episode of Athletics LLC. If you haven't noticed, we've got 5 tiles on our screen today, and I don't know about you all, but I'm sitting here shaking in my pants. That isn't, you can't see it because it only cuts off right here, but underneath I'm shaking like a little baby. But we are joined by someone who, if anybody has complaints about this episode, we fight. We fight on contact. I will fight anybody that has anything negative to say about this episode tonight. So we all graciously know her as Miss Jackie Joyner Kersee, but thank you so much. She's the greatest of all. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us this evening.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We have 3 other clowns with us tonight. We've got Clyde.
What's going on?
Lucius.
Good evening, afternoon, morning, whenever you are gracing us with your presence.
And then finally, Lamar, the pin trader Sidlanta. I got that out way cleaner than I thought it would.
Definitely get a medal for that.
I know, right?
Right? That was a good one.
Whew.
So that is why you are the ringmaster of this circus, right?
No question. We should get her a top hat.
Oh my goodness. So,
All right.
we're going to jump right into the fire. To start us off, each of us, well, most of us are going to ask a question. And so hopefully it's a little bit of a round fire for you, but we'll see what happens. Mr. Pinter.
All right. So I guess I get to go first. Well, I guess I'll ask you all, but this question is definitely for Miss Jackie. What, in your opinion, are the 3 greatest track and field achievements ever, regardless of gender?
The 3 greatest achievement in track and field?
Yes, ma'am.
Ever?
Forever.
I would say, whoa. Have to go with, wow. Just 3?
Just 3.
This is a tough crowd.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow.
So you can't worry about offending someone because you're going to leave something out and think about it later. But
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, just go for it.
To me, I have to go with, it's back in the day, Jesse Owens, and wow. Bob Beeman. And then, I'm going to say Jackie Joyner Kersee.
If you didn't say yourself, somebody was going to do it for you.
I know.
Oh, trust me. Look, Jackie Joyner Kersee is making everybody's list. So you have to worry about that.
Here's the thing, really quick. I just want to ask. So, Jackie, what do you think is your greatest achievement?
I would say,
That might be a tougher question.
Yeah, but it's the heptathlon being tough as it is, being able to go back to back, gold medals, and then being able to come back and win long jump. So
I'm gonna clap again.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Lucius. You were in the middle.
Oh yeah, I mean, Jackie, your heptathlon greatness. I mean, I don't know how you have bolt. You just bolt. I mean, just whatever, just bolt. And then I'm gonna go with Flojo. Yeah. That was magical. That was magical for me.
I guess I'll jump in. I think we're all gonna have some similar things in there. For me, it actually wasn't as difficult as a question as I thought it would be. It came pretty clear. Given the weight and the gravity of all of it, Jesse Owens has to be there for me. I'm kind of with Lucius. Bolt, pick a year, whichever Olympics you fancy, whichever triple you fancy for Bolt. You know, for me, you know, it's hard to separate any of them, but Bolt's Olympics are all special. He is, you know, the male sprint GOAT. And then the third one would have to be our guest, as she said. The hep is amazing, but to double back and with the long jump is, I mean, insane. So those were my.
Well, I mean, mine are pretty easy, and I wouldn't put them in any order, even if I had a gun to my head, but it would be Jesse, Carl, and Jackie. Simply because, first of all, they're all single name people, and that should tell you where they stand in our sport. Secondly, all three of them, it just can't be done again. I mean, as incredible as Bolt's whole career is, for sure, like, add the long jump to that. That's kind of my point, you know, like, that's insane. And the fact that Jackie's still hundreds of points ahead of the greatest who are still trying to do it kind of puts it in perspective. And, you know, obviously that's near and dear to my heart, but if you just pick the events apart and look at the 7 events, then you get it, right? Because you would take any one of those events from a single eventer, almost every one of them. I mean, even her 8 was high quality, so with asthma. So, I mean, for me, that wasn't a hard question for me. If I could only pick 3, it gets harder when I get to like 5.
And it's your question, so it couldn't be hard anyway.
I mean,
I wasn't gonna say that out loud.
I appreciate it.
He kind of lobbed that one up there for me. Since it was your question, that made it easy. Right? Yeah.
All right.
Well, good. Let's see how you do.
Well, so Miss Jackie, my question is, what do you feel that today's female long jumpers are missing that makes the achievements in your era so vastly above what is going on in today's world of women's long jump?
You know, I would say consistency, but then also rhythm. And learning the speed rhythm that will allow you to get the trajectory, to get the height, to get the distance. So a lot of times people just focus on speed, but to me, I had to learn that long jump is a rhythm. And that came from me learning, like with my basketball and how to do a layup. I knew when I was going too fast, I just shot straight through, versus being able to climb when you're doing the penultimate, and it's the same 1, 2, 3 if you're doing a layup. So learning that rhythm that will allow me to get the trajectory and the distance.
I'm going to replay that clip for every athlete that I have, because I say it almost verbatim and they don't listen, but I think they'll listen if you having you said it.
Would you, to extrapolate on that a little bit, would you call that across the board? Because obviously your performances were gaudy and everybody's still blown away by them, but your contemporaries jumped consistently further than the contemporaries that are going on today. So would you say the rhythm answer applies kind of across the board? Is it a lost art in that world today?
You know, I think what I see today is that, yeah, you might have a great jump here, but then you want to go sprint, or you want to go try something else. That the focus to allow yourself to become a better jumper, because all of a sudden people see you executing well on the runway, then, oh, I think you should try the 100, you know, and then you find yourself doing the 100 and then you end up getting injured. So then that takes away. So then you got to backtrack and come back, and it's okay to do a variety of different events, but when it's your main event, you know, you get your speed work up, your strength work up, you do, you know, your bread and butter event, making sure that you secured and that I know what it is. And then also the mindset. For me, I always thought in America, if I could jump 7 meters, that's going to put me on the team. How can I jump 7 meters consistently? So when I went to the bigger competitions, then 720 would come, because I already know what it's going to take to jump 7 meters. I find, I talk to a lot of young people and they be like, oh, I want to jump 22. And, they haven't consistently jumped 21.5 to allow themselves to learn what it would take to go over that hump and not be surprised when 22 come, because then you jumping for joy. And it's like, well, wait a minute. It's going to take 22.8 to win.
Yeah, I want to piggyback in here. Maybe this would be kind of a sideways, we get some sort of a question. I think, and we talked about this a little bit last week, like the athletes kind of put these ceilings up there. And so I get criticized when I say things like, okay, 23 feet isn't far, right? But Jackie, you didn't think 23 feet was far, right? Like 23 feet was just something you had to do. So I think part of the problem that Clyde speaks of is the fact that people think that 23 feet, they think that 7 meters is far. So therefore they can't jump 7 meters because they don't think it's attainable. So what was your mindset when it came to, you broke a lot of barriers. What was your mindset when it came to those barriers that you broke?
For me, I didn't put limits on what I could do. I really believe if I prepared and then push myself, not saying, because it was a time when I would say, oh, like when I was just first learning how to run the hurdles, how to go under 13, I was like, oh, if I could run 13:10 and then I run 13:30. And so then I stopped thinking that way. Or long jumping when I wanted to jump 22 feet. And I'm thinking right at 22 and I get 22. I'm 21:10. So it was like, stop putting the barriers, let your body fly, let your body go, let it relax. And so that was my, mindset, because sometimes we get in our own way and, and then we realize, no, I can't do it. No, it's never been done. And there's a lot of things that you're trying to do is never been done. So, but you're training to put yourself in a position, because if you look at the competition, so if I'm looking at the competition and I'm looking at all of us jumping 22.5, then somewhere I'm thinking that I got to be able to jump 23 feet, because I'm not going to be in the middle. I'm going to make sure I can jump 23 feet. So I would train, be able to go 6 rounds. If I have to come back, someone put a big one out there on me, then I got to regroup, not get frustrated with it, regroup. Let me come back and try to execute a bigger jump, thinking in my mind. Because if you think in your mind your best is 22 and you jump 22, then somebody push you, then all of a sudden you find yourself, man, I don't know if I can go any further.
I like it. Go ahead.
This needs to be recorded and played back weekly.
Well, good thing it's recorded. So
It
there.
is. It is.
Miss Jackie, I have 2 kind of fun questions for you. Well, easier than the last 3, let's put it that way. Where or what would you have been had you not been a pro track and field athlete, or the track and field athlete that you were?
Oh, I would be doing my community work, working with young people, giving them my time, because in my way, I think I'm coaching, and so
Your life coaching.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Your life coaching. That's awesome.
Yes.
And then the second question I had was, what were your biggest obstacles after pro track and field?
My biggest obstacles, I don't think I had any really big obstacles, because when I was competing, I always was preparing for what I was going to be doing beyond my exploits on the track. So I was establishing relationships, working with people, because I knew I was going to go back in the community. I knew I wanted to build a community center, and so transitioning from there. And so I would say probably if I had an obstacle, it would be how you connect and find resources to do the things that you need to do that others find it very hard to believe in what you're doing.
So have you just taken that whole competitive spirit that God knows you have and just put it into like wanting to have the JJK Center be like the best thing ever? Like
That's my goal. It's
That's what
supposed
I
to be the best center ever, but you know, the biggest thing that you find from being on the track circuit, recognizing that I have to always be coachable. And then when you transition and you running your organization is managing people, you know, because you have to make sure that it's not their vision. You come to work for someone that already have a vision and mission, and that you want to help further that vision and mission. And when the two collide and they don't match, then that's when you run into problems in managing people, and while you trying to pour into them, but then also you want them to be able to pour into the young people that we're servicing and the ones who we trying to make a difference with, the families that come through our doors.
I have another question for you. When did you know, because we see this a lot these days, we call them the people just hang on forever. With all of your greatness and all the wonderful things that you did, when did you know it was time to, okay, walk away and start my life?
You know, I knew right going into 96, because of the demands on your time outside of what I needed to do on the field. So one of the things I would always, Bobby and I, we would talk about was that when I can't give 100% on the field, and then I'm going here doing appearance here and doing there, but then showing up, then find myself getting injured, that I knew that it was time, because I gave my heart and soul to the sport. And when I was out there, I want to be out there in the best shape of my life. And then sometimes I would put myself in very challenging positions because, oh, I had to go to this dinner to do this for this sponsor, or I had to go do this. And so making sure that I prioritize, but always knowing that I knew once I left the sport, I was going to be doing my community work, because I started my foundation in 1988. And it was just a matter of, and then opened the center, broke ground in 96 and opened the center in 2000. So, but that's a real good question, because that's hard, because sometimes we don't want to let go. And for me, I'm a realist. I know there's going to be someone else. And no matter how great you become, you know, there's always people trying to pull you down, you know. So for me not to get caught up in that I knew, okay, it's time to go, you know.
Well, whoever that someone else is, if you see her, let me know who she is, because
Hey, we're gonna go find her. All of us want to coach her, right?
Right.
listen, I unfortunately have been like around conversations when Carolina Kluse was coming through, and around conversations as Nefi TM has risen, like, and your name gets brought up, and I'm always the one like, listen, stop that, don't do that. Let that person be who they are. Like, do not, under any circumstances, compare them to Jackie, because what y'all need to understand is, if there had been someone comparable, Jackie would have scored 7,500. No. So leave that alone. No. Stop trying to compare people. Look, I'm telling the truth. Jackie's smiling and laughing. She knows. No. She knows from whence I speak. She knows from, look, we all try as coaches to try to get our athletes to do something that I think Jackie was able to do naturally, which is she was always allowed to be limitless. Like, I've seen her train. I've seen her in meets where she was ready and not ready. And at no point in time did anybody ever know the difference, because if Jackie showed up, she used to always say this, if I show up, y'all know I'm ready. If she's at the meet, she's going to give you everything she got. And most athletes in today's world are not limitless. Like, they train for a number or performance or a range or whatever. And like, I never saw Jackie like, well, I'm in this shape. Like, I think I can score 7,000, right? I think I can score 69. It was like, well, I just came to win, and, you know, we'll see how the points go.
Yeah. I mean, just to speak to the genius of the relationship with you and Bobby, and also to your greatness, is like, you had to give the world record a nickname to give you something to chase, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because, you know, Bobby was always, I'm gonna find me somebody just like you. I'm gonna beat you because you won't work on this. Like, really? You know, you need to work on the high jump. You know, the high jump. If they're gonna beat you, they're gonna beat you in the high jump. So while you over there wanting to throw the shot put, the high jump. And he was right. When that last Goodwill game, you know, didn't want to work on that high jump. I go in there and jump 5'8", and then I find myself down. And then I got to run that 800 meters that I don't really want to run. Oh,
He still won, by the way.
yeah, it was a tough one. Thank
just
God
saying.
for Sheila Burrell.
Lordy.
Oh, that's funny.
I will say I've been very blessed in this sport, but one of the greatest blessings God ever gave me is I got to be around and on the same team as Jackie a couple of times. And let me tell you something. There is no better person on this planet than this lady right here.
Oh, thank you.
Agreed.
Well said, young man. Well said.
Well, Miss Jackie, thank you so much for your time tonight. It's been an honor, and I mean, I'm still shaking, so I'm going to play it off like I'm not. But thank you so much. It's been so awesome just to hear your experiences and just your knowledge that you have. And you know, I think that just hearing the coaches that'll hear this and the prospective athletes that'll hear this and be like, oh, like it doesn't have to be harder than it is. Like my coaches do actually tell me the right thing. So thank you so much for your time tonight. And we'll definitely see you another time and hope that you stay safe and healthy throughout this time.
Well, thank you. And you guys stay healthy and well, and please ask me back, you know.
Yes.
Coach,
No
appreciate
doubt.
it.
I mean,
Thank you.
You have
All
an
right.
open invitation anytime.
Yes, anytime.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
And you got
All
me on recording.
Yes, ma'am.
Person of my word. All
Exactly.
righty. Thank you.
All right.
All right,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Jackie.
Good
All
night.
right. Bye-bye. Oops. See, don't know this internet.
Yes.
See? Oh my goodness.
I'm just so glad y'all can't see my face. It's red.
Oh, I was like, we definitely can see your face, sir.
No,
It's on the
I-
camera.
That would ruin
Like
the
y'all
format.
thought I was kidding. Listen to me. Jackie is like the big sister I never had. And look, if there's anybody that will ever get me to act right, regardless of what I'm doing, it's her. Always has, always will.
Look, he
Well, we
even
definitely need to have her back then.
Okay. You ain't gotta threaten me with a good time.
look, he's
Listen,
still sitting
man,
up straight.
I'll just say it like this: like, there are a few people on this planet that you absolutely and positively know are better at what they do than anything you will ever do in your life. And watching her, like, and again, it's one thing that's like, I was amazed at her as a fan, you know, like just watching that, but I got to see her train more than once. And yeah, they don't want that. Don't nobody want that smoke. That's all I'm gonna say.
The one phrase that comes to Jackie, she's a world-class human being.
Yeah.
End of discussion. Right.
She has always been what you just saw.
Yeah.
Classy, nice, considerate of others, just always.
Whew. All right. Well, let's see what we can get boiling here, gentlemen. First question. What's the greatest sports dynasty ever, regardless of sport?
Well, so we just get to ruffle feathers the whole rest of the time on this show, huh?
Basically, that was our nice. That's how we bought our way up the stairs, and now we're just gonna plummet right off of them.
Go ahead, NYC. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm going first?
I mean, you don't have to, but you just have that. I know that NYC look when I see it. So just go ahead.
Wow.
Basically, it was like,
I mean, right? I mean, okay. I'll take the New York Yankees, sure. I mean, I wasn't
That was
even
so hard for
necessarily
you to do, wasn't it? Like, it
Right,
just broke your heart.
I wasn't necessarily going to take that answer, but I mean, if you go try to punk me, I will take that. I mean, it's kind of hard.
Don't let the West Coast kid punk you into a different answer.
I mean, it's kind
Give
of
him
hard
the short
to.
answer.
It's kind of hard to battle, like when one organization has won more titles than the next 4 combined. That's pretty good.
Okay.
And they've won more than a quarter of the total that have ever happened. And the sport's over 100 years old.
And that is very, very fair. My rebuttal to that, not being a New Yorker, not being an East Coast person at all, when I hear the word dynasty, especially in the team setting, what one franchise did in the 20s and what they did later on don't necessarily have anything to do with it, because those are different players, different coaches, different circumstances as we go out through history. So if you look at it historically, sure, it's easy to say the Yankees. But the greatest dynasty in the history of sports is the New England Patriots. Salary cap era, I mean, 9 appearances, 6 rings, the greatest coach ever, the greatest quarterback ever. There is no harder dynasty to pull off than one in the NFL, given all the things that go along in those sports and how it's played. But specifically, the salary cap era, to do that in and under those circumstances, you're never going to see anything like it again. And the run is absolutely over, because the GOATs have now separated. So that's over. It's dead. Cam will not be reviving that. But that,
you sure?
I'm 100% sure. 100% sure. As sure as I'm sitting here, that's done. But it's the New England Patriots. Love them, hate them, whatever it is, it's the New England Patriots. And as a non-Bostonian, I'm happy to say that to the New Yorker.
Yeah, I mean that's cute and all.
Wow. Okay, so we went with straight homer with the Yankees, and then it was a backdoor homer with the Patriots, because we know he is the biggest homer ever for the Patriots. Okay,
I mean,
I'm a homer for the Patriots.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care about the organization at all.
You're a homer for the 2 GOATs, which we're not going to mention their names because they're just the GOATs.
No. Oh, we're going to mention the name.
But I'm going to tell you, there's a story that's in that neighborhood in the same little area that's better than that.
Oh, here we go.
UConn women's basketball.
That's a great choice.
That's a great choice.
Great choice.
We're kidding ourselves right now, right? So like, don't get me wrong, I have no problem with Belichick and your boy. I mean, they're good, but and then maybe the best of them all that I'm totally disappointed in. Ron McDonald at Arkansas track and field, the man won 40 national titles. They don't get any better than that.
Also a great choice.
So you going over there with your Patriots, and you going over there with your Yankees. I'm gonna ride with my man Gino and my man Johnny. I'll see y'all at the finish line, bro.
I mean,
I'm not bad at either one of those answers. Those are righteous choices
for sure.
You know? But Gino recruiting women's basketball players, I'm sure he has an easier time than the NFL salary cap balancing.
Are you kidding yourself right now? Are you really kidding yourself right now?
No, because everybody want to go to UConn to play for that man.
That's what they did. Hold on a second. When he first got the job, everybody didn't want to go.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah. And I'm gonna go old school homer a little bit too, because my man John Wooden at UCLA winning 10 titles in 12 years. See, y'all young boys. I don't know what more do.
No. I considered it, no doubt. Like
so
I said,
Lamar, who were you gonna say since I punked you into taking the Yankees? Apparently,
well, you didn't punk me into it.
Your words, not mine.
It was a list. I was giving some my initial consideration was UCLA men's basketball. My initial, like when the question was first posed, that was my first thought. But I played it all out, and I'll say this: that dynasty for me, from the Yankees' perspective, is 100 years old. That's why it wins for me. I agree with all the points that were made tonight. I'll be honest with you. I think that dynasties within different sports are almost impossible to compare. Me personally. So like I think this is a personal preference question, but I like it. I know for sure that this conversation is going to be had on the internet after this show by others, for sure.
I'm good with it.
And I'm good with it. Well, you know what? We need an answer from you, Big League.
Oh,
Yeah, that's right.
Caught her off guard. Uh-oh.
That's right.
big.
Uh-oh.
I literally was like, man, I'm full from dinner. That's what I was thinking about. Dynasty. Greatest dynasty.
Yes. Lucius, you hard at work taking notes, boy.
Always.
So I have to agree with the UConn women's basketball. I do. That it was going to be a collegiate sport for me. I'm tainted in regards to, like, you can't pay for a win. Like that generates dubs automatically. And so growing up in the middle of that dynasty, like, how do you not just all of that, so.
I thought you were going to say De La Salle High School football. She went to Caron Valley.
Yeah. When you talk about not paying for a dub, then the Yankees come off the board because we know they have no salary cap. So
don't they?
Here we go.
They are the ultimate pay for the dub situation. Whereas Belichick is famous for not paying folks.
To quote my fellow Golden Bear, hello, you play to win the game.
Stop it.
Herm, tell him, Herm. Hello, you pay to win the game.
Did you say you play or you pay to win?
We both.
We said pay.
I said play the first time and pay the second time. So we both.
Yes.
It's a professional sport, right? All right, then.
Yeah.
Anyhow, that was fun. That was a good one. Next, here we go. Here we go. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of female coaches?
Woo. We go one at a time? We just gonna go in a circle? What are we doing?
It's 4, obviously, right?
Yes.
So you put your 4 out there. That's what
you gotta go 4. You gotta go 4 all through.
Yeah. So class, since you've been waiting for this one for like 6 months, go ahead.
Right.
Have I been waiting for this one for 6 months?
Oh, look, you almost jumped through the text message today.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because I got notes. I got notes.
I thought I was a little kid watching my brother open his gifts at Christmas time.
Well, brother, you will understand why, and I'm happy to go. I'm happy to go first. And Lucius, when I tell you, you will appreciate where I'm gonna go with this. For many reasons. I believe you more than anybody right now will.
Let me get my notepad out.
In post-production, I believe you will enjoy this.
Okay.
Here's my marker. I'm ready to write notes.
I know Lamar got his big red marker ready to go, and that's cool. I'm good with that. So for me, it wasn't necessarily easy. There's definitely some internal debates here, but I think I got a pretty diverse and spread out list here. Okay. First and foremost, the first person that came to mind was very obvious to me was Terry Crawford. Okay. Terry Crawford has to be on this list for me. Terry was, won the first female NCAA title, even though it was an AIAW title, the University of Tennessee women's track. Okay. She won the first 4 SEC championships on the women's side. She goes to Texas from 1984 to 1992. She wins 18 Southwest Conference titles, 5 national titles. She's coached 12 Olympians and has 125 All-Americans. And we all understand in her post-coaching life the important role that she's played within USA Track and Field. Terry Crawford's a legend. has to be on the Mount Rushmore. And then after that, I had to, you know, pull out the computer and do some research and make sure I had correct information on my hands. And these are my other three here. Barbara Jackie, Prairie View A&M University, won 9 straight NAIA outdoor titles, 22 SWAC titles, 57 All-Americans. She was the first female AD in the history of the Southwest Athletic Conference. And she was only the second at the time in 1992, a team I think Lamar might be a little familiar with, was the second Black woman named to the Olympic Games staff. And for all of those reasons, Barbara Jackie, Prairie View A&M, landed, you know, on my list. And all three of my 4 ladies are currently in our Coaches Hall of Fame. That needs to be said about all of these ladies. The next person I threw up there on my Mount Rushmore might be a little outside of a box choice for some people, but I'm putting Amy Deem up there. 14 national champions. Her athletes have won 14 national championships individually. 200 first team All-Americans. If you check the stats of any of the women worthy, Amy Deem is right there with any of them. And I'm a fan, and I have her there. And then the one lady who is on my list who is not yet in the Hall of Fame, but undoubtedly will be, is Miss Carol Smith Gilbert of USC, currently of USC. Now, I want to focus on USC because on her USC resume alone, she belongs on this list. Lucius, can you tell me how many coaches in the NCAA can lay claim to a men's 100-meter national champion, a men's 200-meter national champion, a men's 400-meter national champion, and a men's 400 hurdle national champion?
None.
None.
Not one.
Not one. Well, Ms. Carol Smith Gilbert has done that. Not only has she done that,
I want to say it again. None.
Andre DeGrasse won the 100 and the 200.
Hold on a second. None. Because
DeGrasse.
Carol does not coach the 400 hurdles.
Okay. Well, we're not getting into all that.
Okay.
Carol,
All right. So in that case, then I've done it.
I know. That's why I asked you that question.
So one.
Okay. So in addition to that, at USC alone.
We need to revise that list because she don't coach the 400 hurdles.
No, sir. I'm not reviving that list. That was her. This is my list. You can revise your list.
You asked a question. That's my answer. She don't coach the 400
and
hurdles.
I appreciate your answer, but you can give.
Okay. So my answer is one.
Okay.
My answer is one.
So
I don't know why you started this with me. But
100-meter national championship on the men's side, 200-meter national championship on the men's side, men's 400 national champion, indoor and outdoor, and by the way, indoor world record. Men's 4x4s, national champion, indoor world record setting team. And I don't want to hear about the distinction of country that didn't give him the world record. That's the world record indoors, USC men.
No, it's the world best indoors.
400 hurdles.
Hey, that's what it is. If you look it up, it says world best.
I hear you.
It's the fastest time ever, but it's the world best.
World record where I come from. 400 hurdles, national champion, and national record.
They didn't teach you how to read in California, I see.
So 184 All-Americans at USC, 60 Pac-12 individual champions at USC, and prior to USC, legendary work at Tennessee, participating in all of their national championships during that tenure. UCF, Alabama, those are my 4 for my women's Mount Rushmore of coaches: Terry Crawford, Barbara Jackie, Amy Deem, and Carol Smith Gilbert.
But I will come back to your other question. I believe that Dennis Shaver has done that as well.
I asked you because I knew.
Well, okay, now I'm answering you.
So we're up to 3 now. Only 2.
2.
Wait, what was the question? What coach has coached the what?
I've coached the national champion in the men's 100, 200, 400, and 400 hurdles.
400 hurdles. It's a very short list. And specifically, the reason that I focused on her male athletes for my rant is because, you know, in her specific example, most people think of Carol as a females coach because that's who she's coached the majority of her career. But her work with the men at USC has been absolutely phenomenal and should get more attention than it usually gets. So that's my list. That's my Mount Rushmore.
What you got for us, Lamar?
I don't even know if I want to follow that. I will say this. I do believe I'm going to drop the shocker of the night on Mr. Lucius. Terry Crawford is also on my list.
Why is everybody trying to shock me tonight? That's your first one.
I just think that my answer, when it comes out of my mouth, will shock you. So that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Bev is on my list. And the list of accomplishments is too long for me to talk about. Just from a coaching perspective, for a very long time, she was the industry standard on the women's side. Someone who made my list would probably be somewhat surprising is Myrtle Ferguson, because I think
dirty dog.
I think her work,
dirty dog.
Her work. Yeah. If you were around track in the 80s, which that's why Mr. Lucius.
No, the 90s. See, here y'all go with this.
No, 80s and 90s.
No, 95 on.
I'm old, so
I'm sorry, 90 on. 90 on. I'm sorry.
90 on. You are correct. You are correct.
You look. You gonna steal my pick, dog? Then just say what you did right.
Her work is beyond parallel. I mean, and I won't even pontificate. I'll let you do that since I'm sure.
No, I'm gonna let you. No, look, you're the pontificator, so go ahead.
I mean, you start talking about these lists, Clyde, about well, who has coached this, that, and the third. Well, I don't think there's anything Myrtle hasn't coached. Hey. I don't think there's a championship title she hasn't coached on the women's side. I know you said men, and that's why I say quiet and didn't say nothing. But if ever there was an industry standard from an assistant coach standpoint, I actually feel like I was remiss when we had the conversation about GOAT assistant coaches for not bringing up Myrtle then.
Yes, absolutely.
I wanted to punch myself that night because I thought, you know what, I messed that up. Not that BA is not the GOAT, but I will say this: Myrtle was definitely at GOAT status before BA. So if he took a title from someone, it may very well have been her. And my last one, I am 100% sure is going to surprise Mr. Lucius. I too am going to agree with Clyde that one Miss Amy Deem actually goes on the Mount Rushmore. I'm not going to go on and on about her accomplishments because Clyde has read them all. But at the end of the day, there was a point in time where everything that Coach Deem touched turned pretty close to, if not gold. So I'll give my shout out to those four, and I will get out the way for the Lucius train.
I'm done with you.
You're just mad because I'm almost as old as you, so I pulled one off.
You are no longer my friend.
See?
God dang it.
I have proof. There's my list.
Oh, look, I got no issue with it, but you, God dang it. I just knew I had you on Myrtle, man. God. So anyway, so now that everybody knows that one of my picks is Myrtle, let me talk about my other three, okay? So, I first of all, let me give a shout out to Barbara Jacket because, she was somebody I definitely, thought about. I'm going to give a shout out to Amy Dean, because, of what she's done and phenomenal job of dominating at the conference, when they were in the big, whatever, East.
I think they were the Big East then.
And then the ACC. But, the part of the reason why Myrtle was one of my picks is because, she was basically in charge of the women's sprints at LSU from 90 to 95. In that time, they won 6 outdoor titles and 4 indoors, and her sprint crew was the major emphasis behind that. So that's why she makes my Mount Rushmore, and I think the only things she didn't win a national title in was maybe the indoor 55 and maybe the 200, but everything else she won. I think one year they had 4 girls in the outdoor final of the hurdle, stuff like that. You know, just retarded stuff.
They went 1, 2, 3, I think twice.
Yeah, just something crazy.
Yep.
You know, Terry Crawford, you know, you can't say enough about Terry, you know, not just as a coach, but as a human being. And not only did she do good, she did well, she did it with class and still continues to do so. You know, you pick up the phone and it's Terry and you hear that southern drawl of hers and she's asking you to do something. It's hard to say no. So, and then, you know, Bev's easy. You know, Bev has more national titles than anybody else. She's got 7, Terry has 6. You know, Bev, you know, did it at Florida, then went on to Texas and had a great run there as well. And then, you know, my fourth person is Jeanette Bolden. You know, she led UCLA to 3 national titles, and she's also 3 of my 4 are also in the Hall of Fame. And you know, I'm a little bit, I'll admit I'm a little bit of a homer from the Jeanette side, because you know she and I are good friends, and she was someone when I became the head coach here on the men's side, she called me, and you know, her and Bev took being assistant head coach. When I was programs here, she actually gave an interview for the job, and she came by to see me midway through her interview, and we had a long talk then. And then when she got back to LA, she said to me, you know, you're going to get that job, and this is what you got to do to be successful. So I'm a little bit of a homer there because of our personal relationship, but you know, she's coached 3 national championship teams, and you know, she's in the Hall of Fame. And I think that's the only thing that puts her on there over Amy for me, because that was my toughest one, you know, because she's got the 3 national titles, and I think Amy's got a couple of top 4s. So, yeah.
I didn't think anyone else would name Barbara Jacket. I knew someone else would name Myrtle. So yeah. I wanted to make sure that Miss Jacket got her.
I thought I was going to sneak Myrtle in there because, but I should know with you two, I should know better. Yeah, I should know better.
I mean, we're on this panel for a reason, right?
Right.
In theory.
Right.
In theory.
Right.
Hopefully we educated some folks, because I hope to God people go back and start looking at LSU from the 90s. You better recognize.
Yeah, and see, and that same thing, like, you know, the things that Amy was doing in the late 90s and early 2000s at Miami, you know, like, she wasn't nice to folks. You know, she wasn't nice to folks at all. You know, and then again, Bev and Jeanette, you know, Terry, they speak for themselves, but you know, and I don't think Barbara gets the credit for what she did over the years at Prairie View.
And you know what? It just hit me, and I'm glad it hit me before we ultimately went off camera. We all threw Amy's name out there, and not one of us mentioned maybe her top accomplishment, which is Lauren Williams. Lauren Williams.
I was like, that ain't a maybe.
I mean, no, but I mean, because we were all talking in the context of stuff, but like Lauren Williams is a special human being, and you know, I mean, I've always been a huge fan of Lauren Williams, but watching her go out there and do what she did over those years was.
You know, so I remember Lauren's senior year, Amy and I were both up in New York recruiting the national high school meet up there, and she goes, "I want you to come watch this girl run." And so she, you know, Lauren walks by, I'm like, okay. And then she did a start, and I was like, ooh. You know? And Amy's like, yeah, she said nobody's paying attention because she didn't know what to do with it. And then, you know, 3 years later, she's the Lauren Williams, or 2 years later, she's the Lauren Williams that Amy thought she could be. But like Lauren ran like 11.7 in high school.
And there is if anybody, you know, are YouTube fans out there, there is a phenomenal video of Lauren Williams in high school running a 4x1.
Yes, there is.
It is. It's one of the most disrespectful things you will ever see in track.
Yes.
She was so far back, like off the screen back, and just, you got to find that video.
And that's, you know, Amy has that eye, and she definitely saw that one. You know, she did that with a lot of girls, you know, from down in the Miami area, and you know, she's done great work for girls up in the East Coast. So no, she's definitely Mount Rushmore worthy.
Do we have any honorable mentions?
We mentioned them.
Got covered by the other gentleman.
Yeah, we covered them all.
All right. giving you a second to process that because usually after you guys are like, oh wait. So
Oh wait, no.
I know. See, I was giving those gray hairs a moment, so just seeing.
Oh,
I mean, clearly that wasn't a jab at either one of y'all. I'm the only one with gray hair on the panel.
Are you
No,
kidding me?
They all have. You all have gray hair.
what are
Y'all
you saying?
Good.
I have gray
Notice
hair.
my mustache?
I'm the only
Notice my
one.
mustache?
Oh, okay. Facials. My bad.
I appreciate
that
the
was
shout out though, but yeah.
that
I
was
got you.
funny. Oh my goodness, that was funny. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, let's remind everybody that we all have great blood beating hearts. They're not black. So this week or tonight, let's start off with let's end, I'm sorry, with our heartbeat props. Do we have anybody that's jumping out of their seats to go first?
Oh, so we're not doing the rapid fire before the heartbeat props?
So we can.
Yeah, like you can't do anything after the heartbeat props because half of us is gonna be almost crying. You can't. Come on, Big Lee.
Okay.
If you're gonna be rapid fire and we're gonna be finding tissue, like
Okay. So I can't do rapid fire for all three of you because then you're going to be conditioned for the question. So right now I have a number between 1 and 20 in my head. Whoever gets the closest to that number gets rapid fire.
It's rapid fire hot seat. Oh man.
Yes.
It is.
Oh, okay.
So let me ask you a question. So like, how many questions do you have?
5.
Okay, so why can't you just go around?
Because then
Ask the
if
person
you
one
ask
question.
rapid fire to me, you're gonna know what it is, and therefore it's no longer rapid fire. I totally get that.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
these
so
are
basically one of us is about to get it. So
And next week we will be off from getting it, and it'll be between the others. I got you.
yes.
I got my number.
Number 1 through 20. I just wrote it down. Lucius, what's your number?
12.
Clyde?
In Price is Right fashion, I'm going with 1.
My number is 13, and I can't take it away now.
All right. Lamar, you're it.
I knew it. Is it 13?
No, it was 18.
Oh.
I was either going high or low, and I got low, avoided it.
Ooh wee.
All right.
All right, Mr. Lamar.
Let me buckle in.
So I initially had thought this was going to be a 1-minute process, but I thought that might be too hard to fulfill or too easy to fulfill. So I just went with the 5-question series. All right.
Okay. Yes.
Do you have a cup this week?
I do not. Water.
Maybe we should have got you a cup. I'm just kidding.
Nah, we ready. Birdman hand rub is ready.
All right. We ready? Which color, red or blue?
Blue.
Pineapple on pizza?
Hell no.
Sand in your toes?
Love it.
Oh, you just lost my other questions. I forgot to write them down.
Get some.
Shush. Sandals or shoes?
Shoes.
Pants or shorts?
Shorts.
Got it. That's 5.
Let's
That was
go.
That was way too.
So,
Let's go. All right, what you got? You got 5 for me too, Clyde? I feel.
No, I'm
far
just
from
saying.
tonight.
I'm just saying. That was way too easy. That was way too easy.
well, so I'm gonna evolve them.
We gotta run that. We gotta run that back. He's got to go back in the pool.
Because this is my objective of it, is to peel back the layers. So everyone wants to have words about the 3 of you, about your coaching and who the personification is of you as people, right? But they only know you as coaches. So now, if somebody wants to give something to Lamar, they know that he wants shorts, pineapple on pizza,
No.
something blue.
Pineapple.
Or I mean, no, I know pineapple on pizza. I mean, do you get what I'm saying? So.
Oh, I totally get it. It just got to be harder for him next time. That's all.
Oh, it'll graduate.
I see.
Or
Fine, I'll go back.
Just
in the pool
make
for
it
that.
harder for Clyde next week. That's
Right. I'll go back in the pool, Clyde. Does that make you feel better?
no. We're good. No, you get back in the pool after when it's your turn. Don't be messing up stuff.
Wait, so Clyde,
Okay.
before we move on, is that a tie for Clyde? I have to ask.
It is. It is. It is.
Ooh.
Very nice.
Ooh,
Yes,
wait.
yes. From the Midwest somewhere, I believe. I have to check the list.
Very nice.
I like it. I like you.
Keep those ties coming, folks.
I challenged someone to a bow tie.
Oh, I got those on deck. I got
Okay,
those. Those
JK.
are coming. Those are coming.
Oh, there we go.
I like
There you
it.
go.
I like it. All right, so let's show a little more humanity. Even more so. Not that you're not humane. More than the last.
Lordy.
Are we? Heartbeat props. Is anybody who want to go first? I'll go first. So, these two young people, and they are young people by biological age, stepped up for me huge. When I was diagnosed in 2010 with cancer, I don't know if it's my selective hearing that I wanted to hear when my return date was going to be, but I heard, okay, Marissa, you'll be back by March and you'll be able to coach. And that's definitely not what the doctor said at all. So like, as I was getting ready to leave the semester and whatnot in December, I was like, I'll be back before to coach track season and whatnot. And, you know, as I've said before, it was, I think, maybe 6 to 8 weeks before I was out for the count. And I had one returning student and one returning student athlete who stepped up, and, you know, they filled my shoes, one each, and they took things that they heard me say. They implemented a culture, not implemented, they reiterated a culture that I had been trying to build at that high school. And I think that was my second year there. So it was still relatively new. But they did it with grace. And they're like, you know what, our coach is laid up right now, so you show out every day. And after that, I was told practice was just like I was there every day. And that couldn't make me more proud. To this day, these two still are in contact with me. I see what they're doing on social media. They're contributing citizens. And if anything else, that's what I want to be. I want to develop as a coach, especially at the high school level. That's what I wanted. Citizens who can contribute positively and make a difference. And that's what they're doing right now. So one, Dawn Griffin and Rochelle Gu, I love you too. Goober, you're the best. Dawn, let's go roll in the caddy. Come on, let's go. Oh no, I'm sorry, the Cutlass. I'm sorry, the Cutlass. This dude, true story, that his senior year, it was when whatever Fast and the Furious number it was came out, right? And it was on spring break. So we roll up to the movie theaters in Hayward, and everybody's getting out of their cars and whatnot. And little homie has a steering wheel in his hand. I said, what? I said, sir, doesn't that belong on the car? He goes, no, it's an anti-theft system. Like, the steering wheel is meant to come off so no one can steal the car. I said, that is OG, triple OG. And that was my nickname from there out. Because I was like, no little like 17-year-old knows this. Just an OG knows this. So I was like, okay. And from then on out, that was my little homie. So Dawn and Rochelle, love you guys long time.
I'll go next. Mine's kind of a combo of things. I think one of the cool things with the Heartbeat Props is the audience gets to know us a little bit better. Off the track in my real life, anybody that knows me knows I'm a huge political junkie, and that this is a very interesting time to be that. The person that started me down that path is my grandmother, Martha Acanero. Now, she died a couple of years ago, and truth be told, I'm still not really over that whole scene. But my Heartbeat Props tonight, in the spirit of my grandmother, because this would be a time where she would be glued to everything that is important in the world, is to journalism. Journalism is important, and there's a lot of brilliant journalism going on in the world right now. You have to be willing to seek it out and care enough about, you know, the media that you consume. It's cute in our culture right now to derive everything as fake news and act like all media is bad. And that's just fundamentally untrue. Journalism is fundamental to the fabric of this nation. And there are true, just fantastic journalists from all spectrums of you know, our political dynamic, doing really, really great work out there. And you are responsible for the media you consume. So if you're going to be a media consumer, and if you're going to have, you know, the guts to complain about the media, you should also have the intelligence to go out there and seek out proper information. And there are journalists doing really important work. And specifically this week, there's a lot of really important information that we all need to be aware of going on right now. So know the difference, seek out proper things. And I want to give my heartbeat props to the journalists that are very actively saving all of us from peril right now.
I'll jump in there. My heartbeat props is, I'm about 100% sure that this person does not watch the show, so I'll have to make sure that he gets a link. But this person was the first person to believe in me athletically, and I learned a very valuable lesson from this person, and that lesson is, if you believe in your coach as a person, that they can help guide you to do things that you didn't think you could do, even if they are not the most technically savvy person. But your belief in them and your belief that they won't steer you wrong and they won't get you hurt and they will find the information to help you or find the people to help you, that is kind of the quintessential thing that produces the marks. And I moved from Indiana. I moved from New York to Indiana at, I think, like age 12 or 13. And I didn't really embrace the thought of living in Indiana until the summer between my junior and senior year. So I was basically a boarding student. I came to Indiana the week before school started, and I left the day after school was over and went back to New York because I just was not about Indiana. And the first person so I was an angry kid in high school. And the first person that ever reached me and convinced me to maybe see the world a little bit differently, and I guess honestly the first person that I ever trusted athletically with anything was my high school coach. And we laugh all the time because my high school coach was a religion teacher at my high school. He was a distance runner in high school, and he literally knew nothing at all about the events I wanted to do: long jump, hurdles, a little bit of high jump, those things. And so he said, we'll figure this out together, and I'll make sure I drive you to practice and drive you to the meets, and you'll get everything you need. And for whatever reason, because it was him, I bought into that. And I ended up having a pretty decent high school career, nothing crazy, but enough to get a scholarship offer from a few schools and enough to kind of get myself started. And tonight, I guess the simple thing is my heartbeat props goes to probably one of the best teachers I've ever known, my high school track and field coach and religion teacher, Mark Worrell, Cathedral High School. Shout out.
My heartbeat props tonight goes to a young man that I've known him since he was 14, 15 years old. The first time I ever saw him, I heard this squeal, and I watched him jump up and run because somebody had hit him in the head with a shot put. He was taken off by ambulance, and then he came back a couple hours later, and he grabbed the stick in the 4x4 and he ran the entire race in lane 2 and split like 46.9. And he's a freshman in high school. So I got the pleasure of working with him that summer. He was, I think he was second or third. He's second in the country in the 400 for me that summer. He would come on. I would move over to Buell's High School the next year, and he won three Florida high school state championships for me. He went on to have a wonderful career at the University of Florida, was an All-American, at one point was a collegiate record holder, and up until a few years ago was a Florida record holder. He was my first international guy. He made the junior team. He is currently in a big battle with ALS. He's to the point now where he can't talk or use his hands right now, but he's still fighting every day. He's a wonderful guy. Anybody that knows him well. That there's my heartbeat props are Tyrone Kemp, and Tyrone's would always say there ain't no party like a Tyrone Kemp party, because a Tyrone Kemp party never stops. And I love you, Ty. I'll make sure you get to see this at some point in time, but just can't measure this man's heart and the number of people, the number of lives he's touched with his smile, with his voice, and with his laughter. So my heartbeat props for Tyrone Kemp.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Lamar, are you okay?
Yeah. You need to stop, because you're about to make me get started. I'm trying not to.
I hate you, Lucas.
You're going to have to hate me. That's my guy. And you know that. That's my guy.
Wow. So somehow we keep getting better at heartbeat props too. I don't know how we're getting better at that, but we're getting better at that. Man, oh man. So with that being said, gentlemen, as always, it's a pleasure hearing your ideas, sharing your thoughts are always great things for everyone to hear, because you drop so much knowledge. And to only add the best icing on the cake tonight, to have Miss Jackie Joyner Kersee on here with us. Man, I don't know. I dare somebody to comment something negative. Like seriously. Thank you as always. Be safe, be healthy, and we will reconvene this in another week. Gentlemen, have a great evening and be safe.
Hey.
Night.
When the lights come on, the road just get to running. When the lights come on, opponents smash the plumbing. Heard you like it warm, hot, knife the butter. Truth pin them hard, knock them off that rebuttal. Tsunami, tidal wave to your puddle. Tough love, punch you in the arms, little brothers. Athletics, LLC, there's no others. Track and field's place to appeal to go further. Hey, Wile E. Coyote, it's road runners. Feels like you know us, you've been with us the whole summer. If not for this quarantine, these four corners wouldn't be here, but we here, so start learning. You gotta earn your stripes, gotta get your scars. Show you how to fight, but show us who you are. You lack experience, but still you wanna talk. And who is actually talking to you? Circle's kinda small. Heads prevail when the backbone's strong. Gotta keep it coming, no, it won't last long. Pass and fail, then sell the sad song. And if you don't check yourself, then that's wrong. Just trying to give you the real that you asked for. So why you keep cutting us off to ask more? We put it in slow-mo, but you fast forward. Athletics, LLC, the task force.